Hi guys, it's let me see. Well, Nancy's here, and it is 10 minutes past 3 o'clock in the afternoon on September 11, 2021. Now, I was just out there filming, and it was so windy. It was so windy, guys, and I was talking about um, the stores that people donate things to, and where the managers and if the other people in the higher positions, they steal all the nice things, and then they leave all of the not so pleasant things for the public. So I'll have that video for you, either at the end of the video, or maybe the link will be in the description. So I'll put the link too, I suppose, in the description. Anyways, guys, I decided to come back in here because it's going to be impossible for me to film out there because it's just so... The wind is... It's impossible for me to talk and for you guys to hear me properly. So I was afraid that you guys will not be able to hear me properly. So then I just came back in here and I decided to position the camera to see the neighbors behind me. And so this is what you're seeing. Some houses and some trees blowing very strongly. Now, it's not raining or anything, but we were supposed to be, I think, a severe weather storm or something like that. But so far, nothing. It's very cloudy, but the sun is also shining very brightly, and there are a lot of, not gray clouds, you know, the white clouds. We have a lot of white fluffy clouds, and the sky, you can see it, it's very blue. So whatever you will see in the video that I just mentioned, that's how the sky is, because I filmed a bit of the... I positioned the camera so you guys could see the sky. Guys, you know what? I wanted to ask you a question. I wanted to know, how would you answer this question? Now, I know how I answered it because I already answered it. And, okay, so, somebody that I knew, a neighbor from another neighborhood, who was dealing with a severe drug addiction. Yes, a severe drug addiction and a severe alcoholic addiction also, you know, for many years. We were just... my neighbor and I were walking together outside because I was going to do some shopping, and then I saw them as I was passing by a building that sometimes they go to. It's like a center, and then they saw me passing by and they said, "Hey, Nancy," and then I'm like, "Who's calling me?" So I look back and I'm like, "Oh, my neighbor." So then we just started walking together, and then that's how the question, my neighbor asked me the question. And so we were chatting and chatting and chatting. And by the end of us hanging out, because it was about almost an hour later, and I had to go do my shopping, and then they had to go other places. And so when we were walking down our street, my neighbor asked me, because we were, at this point, my neighbor was talking to me about their, you know, what they go through. And they were asking me, they were telling me about their problems, and they said, "Okay, but how do you stop?" Okay, they were talking about how do they stop the drugs and how do they stop taking alcohol. And this is something that I had discussed with them several times before, right? So, when they asked me the question, I said this to them. Well, let me make up a name, because, you know, guys, we cannot be naming names from real people because we have to preserve their privacy, right? So let me just let me just make up a name. Leslie. I'll say Leslie. Okay. So I said, "Leslie, it is a choice." That's all I said. Wow, guys, I can see I just saw a what's it called? A turkey buzzard. I saw it maybe it was the same one, but I saw a turkey buzzard about an hour ago. I have a turkey buzzard video of it. I'll have that one in the description below too, or maybe at the end. Yes, yeah, I find them fascinating. They're so huge. Anyway, so when Leslie asked me, but how do you stop? And I said, it is a choice. And then I explained, look, once you make the choice, oh, there it goes. Wow, guys, it's so huge. It just came so close to my window. It's soaring around here. Yes, it's soaring around here. Maybe there's a dead animal or something, because turkey vultures they only come around when they can spot an animal that it's just freshly died, right? And then they'll go pick it up. They are nature's, God made them the natural vacuum cleaner. I also learned, guys, that turkey vultures, like any kind of a scavenger, they will not eat anything that is rotten. I thought they ate rotten things, but they won't eat anything that's rotten. They will eat something that has freshly died, right? But if that thing that's died has worms, they won't eat it. So even the God's natural vacuum cleaners are clean. Look at them, guys. Okay, I see two more turkey vultures. I see two of them. What's going on here? Now this time they're on the opposite side. They are on. See, the first one I saw was. Where's my finger? Where's my finger? Hold on, guys. I'll show you my finger. Where's my finger? Oh, there it is. It was flying over there. Now the other two, right now they're flying over here. Guys, I'll try. At the end of the video, if they're still around, I'm going to go outside and I will film it for you, okay? I'm going to have to turn this off though. Yes, and so if I see them, okay, and if I'm able to get a shot of them, then I will, like I said, I'll go outside and I'll film it for you, and then I'll leave the link for you, okay? There it is, all the way, one of them, far, far away, on my left again, far away. It's the first time I have ever seen this many at once in Toronto, because I've never seen them when I used to live in the West End. I'm in the East End right now. I never saw them in the West. Well, it doesn't mean that they're not there, but I've never seen them in the West End over here. It's the first time I've seen this many. Anyway, so then I told Leslie, it's a choice and you have to stick with it. I said, look, Leslie, it's a choice and you have to make a conscious decision that this time you're going to do it. And then you have to follow up. What does it mean when you make a choice? What does that include? What does that involve? Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. I saw a bee, guys. I'm so used to seeing bees coming near me. The bee was on my right, to my right, which is probably your left. But okay, look, it's this way. The bee is this way. The bee. Okay, finger. The bee was over there on the windowsill, but the very, very, very top outside, of course, because I'm indoors. And so because I'm so used to bees, freaking out over bees when I'm outside, that's why I was freaking out right now. Sorry. And yes, and so I said to my friend Leslie, what does making the choice, making a conscious decision to no longer do drugs or alcohol, what does that involve? Like initially you make a decision. Okay, but then what else does that involve, right? And then I explained to her or him, I said, you have to see what is influencing you in your area, in around you, in your life. What makes it hard for you to stay away from drugs and alcohol? Remove those things. Okay, you start with that. And then once you do that, ooh, what's that? Uma, what's that? Stop that. No. Don't do that. Okay, so guys, sorry guys, my cat wants to go outside. I'm right next to the door on the balcony, and she started to play around with this plastic thing, and it's kind of like it's a rubber, it's a long, like a kind of like a stick, and I thought it was an animal, and I don't want her playing with that. And so it's also dangerous because you don't want your animals ingesting that stuff. It's dangerous. Uma, you can't go outside because I'm filming right now. And besides, guys, I tried to let her out several times, and every time I open the door, she will feel the power of the force of the wind, and she won't go out. And so I'm trying to push her out, and with all her strength, guys, she's not letting me out, allowing me to let her out. And she won't let me let her out. Hold on a minute. Wanna go? You see? You don't want to go. Okay, there you go. See? She came right back. I didn't even have to push her out. I can't anyways because I'm in here and I can't let her out by herself. And so I said to my friend Leslie, you have to make sure that, make a decision, and then remove whatever the influences, right? And he kept quiet because they don't want to remove those influences. There are people in their lives that mean so much to them who are also experiencing the same thing. They're also, have these drug problems and alcohol problems, and they don't want to let these people go because they mean too much to them. But that is Leslie's, that's up to Leslie. And I have explained this to, like I said before, I have explained this to Leslie before several times, right? Several times. But they don't, they're not serious. They're not serious, right? So I say to myself, I can tell Leslie this information, but are they going to really be serious this time? No, they're not, because this is a constant pattern. And the last time we were having this conversation, like when I was explaining to you, when I was walking and then they saw me passing by that center, this was just last year. Exactly a year ago, last month, right? And so we were just walking home, right? And then that's when they asked me again, how do you stop? And like I just explained to them, I explained everything that I said, but no, they didn't listen because they're still in the same situation. But it doesn't mean that God will still not use what I told Leslie to get them at some point to really change. Because the Lord will place you in somebody's life to influence them in a way that they are needing to be influenced. And sometimes it could be you are the only person that can reach them, or it could be that you are someone that God was needing to use who will plant a seed in them that will grow and grow and grow. Even if you guys never see each other again or you never speak about the matter again, you have planted something inside of them that is going to continue to grow, and the Holy Spirit will use that to convict them, to continue to remind them about what you told them. And so that's how God uses us, guys. Sometimes, like, God will use you and you don't even know that he's using you. You don't know that. You'll say something to somebody, and then years later, like somehow, like, okay, you will say something to somebody that you know, and then somehow the person moves away or you move away, and then years later you reconnect somehow, and then that person will tell you, that conversation that we were having, what you said to me, I didn't want to hear it. I wasn't wanting to hear anything, but it continued to come back in my mind. Once in a while, it would always come back in my mind. That was God. That was God reminding them of what you told them, because you planted a seed in them, right? And the memories, like the reminder that kept coming back to them, that is like a plant that is growing and branching out. It's growing leaves and branches and twigs. Those are every time the person gets reminded, the tree gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the tree gets heavier and heavier. And so the convictions become stronger and stronger with the longer that they ignore, until one day they say, oh boy, you know what? This is God telling me I have to change. And sometimes, guys, even if the person doesn't believe in God, the person will still say to themselves, what you told me was weighing on me for so many years. I had to change. I had to do something. And it was because of you. So, yeah, that's how God works. And so, guys, you know, it's frustrating. It is very frustrating when a person tells you, when they ask you for advice, and they still don't take the advice. It's so frustrating, guys, because you repeat the same thing to them. The same thing. And the thing is, it's not like they don't know what you've said. They want to hear something else. They want to hear something that does not involve the changes that they need to make in order to remove the problem from their life. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear something else. They might want to hear, well, you know what? You can remain in whatever you're doing, but just make sure that you change a little bit. That's what they want to hear. But it doesn't work that way. Because whatever poison they are involved in their lives, they are involving in their lives, whatever that is, it's always going to continue to grow and grow more. Will take over their life, will continue to take over their life. So they can't just do a little bit of that bad thing and then expect for it not to continue to control their lives, even if they're doing something good. Yep. Yeah, so that's my question to you guys. What would you tell that person? Would you tell that person, well, you know what you have to do to change, and then leave it at that? Or would you just not bother because you're like, oh, this person is so frustrating. I can't do it anymore. In that case, guys, like if you have given this person so much advice, a lot, like overboard. Now that's the time when you say, okay, no more, finished. Tell the person, I've already given you advice and information. Now it's up to you to do with it what you want. Now you need to stop coming to me because it's exhausting. You cannot keep coming to me. Because whenever you come to me, you exhaust me, and I cannot continue to allow you to do that because that's abuse. You know what you need to do. Don't come to me anymore about it, and that's the end of that. That's how you need to deal with people like that, guys. That's how you need to deal with it. Because sometimes, guys, what people are looking for is for your constant counseling and your constant, even if they don't want to hear it, they want to come to you because you lift them up, you comfort them, and it makes them feel good. It's like lying on a cozy bed that's warm and safe. That's what it feels like when they come to you, and they need that constantly. But that is they're draining you, right? They're draining you, so you need to put a stop to that. Just be strong, because if you're not strong, guys, you're going to continue to allow those people, that person to drain you, and then you can get sick. You can get sick, You can get sick from that, physically sick. You can get ill. So you need to take care of yourself. Because if that person's not taking care of themselves and now they're coming to you to drain you because they need your energy to continue to help them to carry on. No, that's like a vampire. They're sucking you dry and they're leaving you dead in the end. They're taking everything, all of your nutrients, and they're leaving you, exhausted and anemic. Okay? So you need to get strong and tell them no. Nothing bad is going to happen to you. What's the worst that's going to happen to you? What are they going to do? Blow your head off? Just tell them no. And then sometimes God will remove a person from your life who's doing that. They will remove a person from your life. But sometimes God will not remove people from your life until you learn how to speak up for yourself. I know, I've been there. If you run away from that situation, if you remove yourself from that situation, guess what? Another person who is going to be needing you in the same way God's going to bring that person into your life until you learn how to speak up for yourself. And once that happens, those kinds of people will no longer come into your life anymore. And if they do, you will know how to deal with it. That's how it works. Yeah, that happened. I've experienced things like that. And once I learned to deal with it, those kinds of people didn't come into my life anymore. Yeah. And it makes me sad, guys, because this neighbor, this neighbor is such a good, warm-hearted person, and they love to help people. They're so, like, they are, if they see you, like, for example, I do bulk shopping. When I go do grocery shopping, I do bulk shopping, right? So that bulk means, you're carrying a lot of stuff. And so whenever Leslie used to see me, coming in a taxi with all the groceries, they would help me. They would help me bring the stuff inside, and I'd be so grateful to them. And they're like that. They like to help everybody. Everybody has some kind of knowledge about something, right? And she, whatever you know, you use that to help other people. And so Leslie, whatever knowledge they knew, they would apply that to whomever needed it in the area, from our neighbors. They were like that, they were like that. And it makes me sad to see people who, they're just wasting their gifts that God gave to them. Yeah, so, and that was last year, that was the last time that I saw them, right? Because I moved away, and then, and then we never kept in contact. Not that, well, I do have their phone number, but I didn't, because of, the way they were, right? The way mentally right now, they're not in a good place, right? And for me, I would rather stay away from a person who is not doing well, because they drain you. And so I didn't make the choice to remove them from my life. God did. He removed Leslie from my life, right? Because I moved, and I don't call them. And because they're always forgetting things, they're always losing things, so they don't have my phone number anymore. Besides, my phone number changed. So, but even when before my phone number changed, they never really called, because they're always losing my phone number. They were always losing things, right, guys? Because when a person is dealing with an addiction, they forget things overnight. Like, from one moment to the next, they forget things, and they were always losing their property. They were always losing things. So they have they have to keep replacing the things that they lose, and so that's a huge problem, guys, for a person who has an addiction. They're always losing things, and they have to keep wasting money to replace them. But it made me sad, guys, to see that I had to move on from that friend, that neighbor, because I was really looking forward to remaining connected with them if they were if they had straightened out their life. Because there was a time, guys, when I first moved into that neighborhood, they were doing really well. I had no idea that they had addictions, but then, once we started talking, just like as neighbors, they told me what their problem was. They told me that they were dealing with whatever addictions, whatever drugs, whatever, alcohol. And I just listened, and I told them that she needs to get close to God, or he needs to do something about, well, not but I said, you also need to remove whatever is influencing you, and they're like, yeah, I know I need to do these things. I know, because, guys, in several of our conversations, they have said, yes, I know that I need to do these things. I know, but it's so hard. How do you do it? Right? I said, you need to make a decision, remove the bad influences, and move on, and stick with it. I said, you also have to get connected to a church, because without God, you won't be able to do it on your own. Now, one thing that they did do was they did find a church, and they were going to Bible studies every week, so that's good. And they were very dedicated. And by the time this was about 3 years ago, and so last year, by the time Leslie and I moved on, by that point they were now hearing God's voice very clearly. And I said, that's very good. And then Leslie was always telling me about what God tells her, or about what God tells him. Leslie would say things about how God was telling them they need to stop what they're doing and change for the better. So that's how I know that they were hearing God's voice. They would say a lot of very truthful, very biblical things, that you know that God was telling them, right? Things they were hearing things from God that were, of course, always backed up in the Bible, and of course God would approve of. So I said, that's very good, Leslie, very good. And yeah, yeah, there was always an angel that I would see around Leslie, and Leslie's like, whenever I'd see Leslie, they're like, "Hey Nancy, do you see the angel?" And I said, "Well, not right now, but I do sometimes." And other times, Leslie's like, "Leslie, Nancy, what do you see right now? What do you see right now?" So sometimes, like, in my head, I'm like, "Father, she really wants me to see something. Can you please show me something?" So then I will see the angel. So then I'll say, "Leslie, the angel is standing right there. He's on this side. He's this tall, and yeah, and Leslie's like, well, why is he there?" And I said, "Well, Leslie, God sends you these angels to protect you. These angels are protecting you." And they're like, "Oh, wow." Another time Leslie's like, "Nancy, what do you see now?" And I said in my mind, "Father, show me something, because I don't know. I can't see anything right now." And then God showed me a rose. I just saw a rose, a picture of a rose. And I said, "Leslie, God is showing me a rose." And he's like, "Oh, wow." So then he bent down, picked up, they were wearing shorts. No, they were wearing pants. And they lifted up the cuff of the pants and they showed me a tattoo of a rose. And I said, "Oh, wow, that's really cool." And he's like, "Yeah, wow." And so then Leslie just walked back home. So I don't know, you know, I'm glad that Leslie got at least, well, not at least, but the most important thing is that he is with God, going to Bible studies. And I also gave them a book full of Psalms and a lot of scriptures, and they were very grateful for that. This was around 3 years ago. So I'm glad that, God used somebody in Leslie's life, to get them close, to get them reconnected with God, because Leslie believes in God very much, So he got reconnected, is starting to go into the Bible study. So that's very good. So, yep, that's very good. And even with everything that they're going through, they refuse to abandon God, which is very, very important, because God will always be able to reach a person who refuses to turn their back on him, no matter what they're doing. They could be a murderer. And if the murderer still is talking to God, in whichever capacity that may be, based on what they're doing, God can still, like the Holy Spirit can still break through their heart to help them to see what they're doing wrong and to completely change their life and surrender to God. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. So I'm wondering, guys, if you know anybody who has a problem like that, who's addicted and stuff like that, right? And yeah, so if you know anybody, and have they ever asked you, with sincerity, what do I do in order to change? And maybe you have already told them, but even in their sincerity, they still don't change. I'm wondering. Another thing that I don't like, guys, is how doctors have declared that alcohol and drug addiction is a disease. Look, yes, there are chemical changes that happen in the brain as a result of all this addiction, okay? But it is not a disease, okay? Because there are people who quit cold turkey and they don't want it anymore. Okay, so don't tell me that alcohol and drug addiction is a disease, okay? A real disease, okay, is multiple myeloma, which is what my 97-year-old grandmother had. That's a cancer inside of the red blood cells in the bones, in the bone marrow. My grandmother didn't walk into Princess Margaret Hospital, a cancer hospital, and inject herself with a patient's cancer cells to give herself cancer. That would have been a choice, okay? But cancer chose my grandmother's body. Do you understand what I'm saying? You don't choose your diseases, okay? Diseases choose the body or the devil, right? You know what I'm saying? But a person will choose as to whether they want to become an addict or not. That is a choice. Okay, guys? Okay, guys, I'm finished, guys. My camera stops recording at 29 minutes and 49 seconds. So thanks, guys, for coming. Subscribe and click on the bell. Okay, ciao, ciao.